Hey guys, it's me, Tenille Dashwood, and you're watching AMBY.
Hey everyone, it's Alicia, and I would like to welcome you to interview round 2 with Tenille Dashwood.
Round 2.
Round 2. Right? How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
I'm not using the microphone.
I feel like
I'm a rookie, I don't know what I'm doing.
I feel like the times that we've had over the past couple of days, we're just like done. We're exhausted.
I've
been traveling so much.
Relaxed. I'm just sitting here.
It's working now.
Yes, here we are.
Well, I have to ask you, just since we're kicking this whole thing off, how is everything doing after the surgery that you recently had?
Good, actually.
Yeah.
It's been almost 6 weeks now, so I've had a huge improvement over the last week or two where I can kind of use my arm a little bit again. But otherwise, I was in a sling, so I can take it off now. I can straighten my arm. But that's kind of the extent. I can't lift it up. That's about as far as it goes. But yeah, it's going to be a long process, probably about 6 months total. But when I'm finished, then I'll be better than I have been in a long time. So it's worth it. It's worth it in the end.
I'm guessing the in-between is just like a lot of physio and that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah. It started the day after surgery, which I almost couldn't believe. I was like,
That must have
already?
just been
I'm
excruciating.
still on a bunch of drugs. Do I have to? Ow. But yeah, it was basically the therapist moving my arm around for me and just making sure it doesn't go stiff and all those things. And from what I hear, this next month is supposed to be pretty intense. Just going to get more and more painful with basically trying to force it to move properly again because everything's been tightened up and there's screws in there now. And yeah, so
Fun road ahead.
yeah, it's already painful as it is, but so I just kind of grit my teeth and put up with it, and I'll just got to keep doing that until it's better.
All right, well, I really hope things aren't as painful as you think they might be, and wishing you the best when it comes to physio.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It'll be all right. I'll pull through.
Well, you said something the other day that I really loved, and you shared this with fans. You shared a lot of very inspirational quotes, and one was, ask yourself what is really important to you, then have the courage to build your life around your answer. So when did you realize, hey, I'm going to just be super courageous and I'm going to take up wrestling? Was it kind of difficult for you? Did you have to ease into it?
Actually, well, the thing is, I didn't really think about it, what I had done, until years after I had done it. So it was almost, I just knew since I was young that I loved wrestling and I wanted to wrestle. And anytime someone would ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, it was like a wrestler. And they'd say, well, what else? Like, do you want to study in school? Do you want to, do these other sports to, like, as a background thing? And I was like, no, I just want to wrestle. Like, why do I have to have something else? Like, that's it. And lucky for me, it worked out. But obviously with a lot of hard work and sacrifice. And but I just kind of was very just set on being a wrestler. So I did what I had to do to make it there. So I guess when I look back and then I think, wow, I've done all these things that, I would look at someone else and go, that's crazy. They just went out and did that. And I guess that was me at one point.
Absolutely.
But I didn't even realize I was being that person. It was just, that's all I knew and that's all I wanted to do.
I find sometimes you're so caught up in doing things you don't realize until even a week later, whoa, I was a part of that, or I did that. That was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, totally. And it can be like years worth of, hard work and wrestling and traveling. And then you kind of look back and go, wow, yeah, it can be years though before you realize, like, wow, I actually have done a little bit that I wanted to. And
like, hey, I'm pretty badass. I've got some cool stuff.
Oh, if you say so. No, yes. It's kind of crazy when you look back at everything.
And just speaking to having courage, you posted something that was extremely inspirational lately, and that was that you have been dealing with psoriasis. And that's since you were 14?
Yeah, or maybe a bit younger even, yeah.
Wow.
Almost gets me a bit emotional.
It's okay.
Yeah, but I've had, it's in my family. My dad has it, my brother has it. It's a skin condition that at one point, or a few points in my life, when I was young, it broke out of nowhere. I didn't really know what it was. And basically then we realized, okay, it's psoriasis, and realized it was hereditary. And I've had like a few bad flares throughout my life, but otherwise it's kind of been controllable, and people didn't know I had it really, but I've had it all through my career, and I would just wear certain things to hide it, or just all kinds of things. I don't wear my hair down often sometimes if it's on my neck, or people wouldn't know it though. It's like you can get by and just do what you gotta do. But yeah, I just thought recently I had a huge flare-up, one of the worst I've ever had, and that was when I was doing a bunch of overseas tours. I went to New Zealand, Australia, and my skin just went crazy. I got sick and everything. I ended up at the hospital one point in New Zealand, the doctor's office in New Zealand, and then I went to Chicago after that. and then went back to Orlando, ended up at the hospital just because I was just an absolute mess. But yeah, I just thought all these things happen for a reason. It's just another quote I always put. But I just looked back and thought, well, maybe this happened because now I'm at a point in my life where I have a platform to reach people, and maybe it's up to me to kind of reach out and say, this is life and these things happen, and let other people know that it's okay and they don't have to, be ashamed or embarrassed or feel like they're alone, especially. So, and it can be other things. It's not just like a physical thing that you can see and like, oh, that looks bad. It's more like an emotional, physical thing that people are dealing with that no one knows about. So that's why it's important, I think, to show understanding and just let other people in on what we go through.
And was that something you debated with yourself for a while, sharing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that post you shared, it was so long, but every single word you could tell that was just a lot of thought put into it.
Well, I mean, there's things that go through my mind on a daily basis. I guess all the things that I couldn't even say everything I wanted to say. I would have to sit down and film myself like a documentary. But it's stuff that goes through my head all the time. And I just did a meet and greet today at Ring of Honor, and some fans come up to me, and it happens every time now, like, oh, I thank you for sharing that, or I have the same condition.
It's amazing.
And that is really touching. But immediately I go to now is like, well, have you tried this? Have you tried that? And like, it's almost like I'm trying to fix people now. But I have had a lot of success in getting myself better, and I'm on the mend now, luckily. And it's because I kind of understand what it's all about. So, it's just cool to be able to try to help out now and be that voice for other people.
And a lot of cases can get fairly painful when you're dealing with it. So for yourself, as someone who is so physical, has a very physical job, how was that wrestling when you had it?
Yeah, it was painful.
Yeah, I had no idea, like, you can't see it.
And people don't realize it's painful either, but I guess when you have an extreme case, it almost feels like burns all over your skin. And it got to the point where I started wearing, you can probably look back at photos from the last few months, you'll see I started wearing extra stockings. I wore fishnet stockings on top of that. So I had like 2 or 3 layers over my legs covering all the spots that were everywhere.
Wow.
I wore T-shirts in all my matches because my stomach, everything was covered, my back. My arms I couldn't cover because I didn't have the right gear for it, but you could see probably on some photos spots I had on my arms, and they were like red raw, like burns. That's how the rest of my body was, but it was even worse in like most places other than my arms, luckily. But yeah, I mean, it can get to the point where it can crack or bleed or anything, and then I'd have to have baths to soothe the pain. And yeah, it's a whole process. I basically stayed home for a few weeks trying to take care of myself and ease it up a little bit. But yeah, it can get really severe, and people didn't realize that either. So that's good that people have a bit of understanding now about those conditions.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for sharing it, because even though it's not something that I deal with, I do know someone who does deal with it.
Exactly.
And there's just, even for people who have other issues, it's just nice to see, hey, I'm coming out with this, and you can deal with things in your own way and get through it.
Yeah, well, thanks. That's the thing is, a lot of people, if they don't have it, know someone who does. And I didn't share it to get any, sympathy for myself.
Exactly.
Because I deal with it okay. Like I can get through it, and that wasn't for me at all. It was to let other people know that, hey, I have it too. So it's not just you, and and I never imagined making it to where I have today, or having a successful wrestling career and moving across the world and wrestling and following my dream. And because I remember the days where I was like, look at myself, like, how am I ever gonna be anything? Like, I was disgusted with myself. And now people share those stories with me, saying the same kinds of things, that they had it all over their face, and they were embarrassed to go to work. And I was like, I've had that too. I had it a few months ago, all over my face. And I was just lucky that I was able to cover it with makeup, or have a little bit of time. Like I said, I stayed home for a little bit to try get it to clear up. But people go through some tough stuff, and not even just this as well. It was more sharing it to say, like, people go through things that we don't know about, whether it's skin conditions, autoimmune, depression, anxiety, all kinds of things that we just have no idea about what people go through. So we should just, never judge, or, it's just, you just don't know what people go through. I think that's really important.
Well,
to remember.
Thanks for opening up about it more here as well.
I go on a rant when I talk about these things. When I talk about what's important to me, I can't stop talking about it.
Well, something I always notice with you, especially as of late over the last about 6 months, is the way that you come out with those purple and green sunglasses, not just for your ring entrance, but also tons of promo photographs. So was that something that just happened and you're like, I'm just going to keep with it? Or was there actually like thought going into wearing them?
Yeah, it's just the aviators. I actually sell them merchandise, the reflectors, the silver ones. Yeah, but that's just, I mix it up a little bit depending on what gear I'm wearing and just to match that. But that's just part of my persona, my character.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's kind of like, have you ever seen that movie Big Daddy?
Yes.
Yeah. So the little boy puts the glasses on and it's like he has this confidence. Yeah. I almost feel like, for me, it's like if I put the glasses on and my gloves and my gear, it's like I'm in my own little world.
Okay.
And then I can focus and then it's like doing what I got to do.
Yeah, well, you think about it. I mean, Evil Emma's fairly cocky, so getting in that
What?
mindset.
Excuse me?
What? Is someone who's all about them? It's not? No?
Yeah, well. No, you're right.
So getting in that mindset, though, with that kind of stuff, with that type of gear, it must make it a bit easier.
Yeah, I'm in my own world and it's all about me.
Well, just to wrap things up, I do want to leave it with the fans. I feel like you've shared a great deal of just knowledge and inspiration already, but is there any final notes that you want to say?
I think I kind of touched on what I wanted to say before, is like sharing my message, and I realized a lot of things over time, and I feel like everything happens for a reason, and I realized that I have the ability to kind of give back to my fans now, which I'm lucky to have all the meet and greets and moments to try help everyone. So, which sounds strange as well, but yeah, I've been really surprised by what they've come to me with and telling stories and really touching things and and I'm really I just feel a lot of support, but I'm really touched by what they give me as well. So yeah, just thank you really is my message, I guess. And don't be afraid to reach out or talk about your problems, and to know that a lot of people understand and will empathize and understand more when you share rather than keep it in.
I want to say keep killing it, and thank you so much for joining me once again on the site. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
My pleasure. See you guys.